Alright, so here we go. It's Battleship night. Let's go ahead and grab our free daily reward. Welcome back, everybody. Last night, we had a very disappointing string of games in cruisers. So we're hoping that we can turn things around with the big boys tonight. So, again, let me just take a look at my weekly Havoc missions. Gotta earn XP, more XP, hit enemy ships 500 times as a secondary battery. This is pretty much the main reason why we're looking at battleships tonight, because that's going to be easiest to do with battleships, and then we'll kind of see how much farther we get from there. I think I'll probably, well, if I can, I'll see if I can bang out a couple of these premium supplies missions as well. These, especially the 7, 8, the tier 7, 8, and legendary tier. These rewards are good, and these are worth doing these little tasks every week. So, okay, let's go ahead. I realized that last night I didn't do an overview of all the different tech trees of the ships that I was doing, so thought I would just start with that. Looking at the United States battleship tech tree, there's basically two lines of battleships. The one thing that just drives me crazy is the North Carolina and the Colorado really should be swapped if you follow kind of the design lineage. These are more the fast battleships, and these are more the kind of standard battleships. Now, never mind the fact that the Maine, the Minnesota, the Kansas never existed. That's why I don't have those. But the North Carolina is still a ship that is pretty good, and Kansas is intriguing that I may get that ship eventually, but you know, and the Maine is essentially a you know, just like a weird cross between an Iowa and a Montana. It doesn't, this ship doesn't make any sense to me, but technically we've never finished the Iowa line, so there is some logic to just playing the Iowa so that we have the Maine unlocked anyway. But American battleships are mostly done. As far as I'm concerned, Japan, we have the Fuso, going all the way up to the Izumo. I think the Izumo is actually a really interesting design. It's one of the alternate designs when they were doing the studies for the Yamato. So I would like to eventually get this ship, but short term, really, Nagato is kind of the one that I'm intrigued by, even though I think in the game it's probably not the best ship. It's still an interesting ship for historical reasons. The Amagi is a ship that was later converted into or the design for the Amagi was turned into an aircraft carrier. Looking at the Brits, the main British battleship line is all done. I do still have to do some work on the Temeraire to upgrade that ship fully, but the British battlecruiser line is still wide open. You see the Tiger, the Renown, and then the Rook, the Hawk, and the Duncan never existed because the British stopped building battlecruisers after the First World War. But you know, the Rook and the Hawk aren't totally crazy designs. The Duncan was even a design, the N3 battleship, I think, design that was developed by the Brits around the same time that they came up with the Nelson class. So it's intriguing. I may eventually get it, but really for now, the Hawk is kind of the one that I'm, you know, would probably stop at. Looking at the German battleships, of course we've unlocked all of these. Again, the Friedrich der Grosse still has some work to do to finish unlocking all of the upgrades to it, but at least we have it. We're working on the Prinz Heinrich in order to unlock, and again, the Mackensen is a real design. The Prinz Heinrich is actually a real design. This ship was, you can also sometimes find it as found as the Ersatz York class, because it was meant to replace the York class of battlecruisers or cruisers that the Germans had. And this design was used as a basis for what would eventually become Bismarck. But really cool ship. I'm glad that they put this one in the game. This is one of the more robust designs that came out of the German Navy in between the two wars. Zieten has no basis in reality. Ruprecht has almost no basis in reality, but Ruprecht is a very fun ship, based on what I can tell. Just its playstyle, it's got torpedoes and a lot of secondary guns, and just really interesting. So definitely want to make sure I get this one. Go a little quicker through the rest of these. France, we've got basically all the ships unlocked, although, again, with the Alsace, we have to get more upgrades. Looking at Russia, end of the line here is the Sovietsky Soyuz, another design that was pretty well fleshed out, but obviously we're way down here with the Pyotr Veliky. You know, most of these ships, actually I don't know if any of these ever existed, they were just designs. Italy, we have the Andrea Doria, going into the Caracciolo and the Veneto, the Vittorio Veneto ship that actually existed. The Caracciolo and the Lepanto did not, but definitely want to get the Veneto. Pan-Europe doesn't have battleships, Pan-Asia doesn't have battleships, so let's go ahead, change our filter settings here, put on the battleships. Right now, we just want to be getting experience points, right? So let's go with a higher tier ship, and while we're at it, let's just go ahead and do the Heinrich. First of all, let's take a look at our commander build here. We have a Ciliax, we have Otto Ciliax, who is a secondary build. We've got Franz von Hipper and Kondo. We're going with damage control party reduction. Probably fine. Highly educated crew makes our secondary guns have a longer range. This gives us more secondary damage. This gives us more secondary reload time. And then this makes our ship take less damage from fire. So really this build is all about the secondary guns. So let's just go ahead and take this out and see how we get on. For the most part in this game, the battleships are built around their main guns. And you know, that's true historically. Most battleships were built around what were the largest guns they could fit onto the gun platform. Largest and greatest number. But in, what do we have here? Tier 5 battle, or Tier 5-6 battle. We're top tier. There is an aircraft carrier, a Serov, and the German battlecruiser line, which includes, of course, the Prinz Heinrich here. And you can see, right, when you look at it from the side, you can see the similarities to the Bismarck, right? It's got twin 15-inch turrets, and it has a lot of these, let's see if I can see them, these kind of casemate guns around the side. Which are kind of typical for this time period. Actually, we're going to go this way. We're going to go towards the north side of the map. And see if we can't get in close. Let's take a look here. Our secondary battery has a firing range of 10.1 kilometers. That's not terribly long. Our ship detection range is it 11.9? Yeah, it's 11.9 kilometers. So got about a 2-kilometer difference between where we can be spotted and where we can excuse me, engage with our secondary guns. And this Serov is wasting no time. He's coming right for us with his skip bombs. And I think he missed every single one of those. But again, we're not exactly shooting down planes at a super fast rate. We're going to get a couple of them. Looks like we'll shoot down 3 or 4 of them, so we won't get a second strike off, which is good. That's probably the most important thing there. So we're just going to push up here to C, to the Charlie cap, and then see what we can do. The Russian carriers have kind of one of the things that makes them unique is they have those skip bombs that their bombers drop. But as long as you turn directly into them or directly away from them, you know, you can... I'm not going to say you can dodge all of them. My goodness, that Devonshire just took a massive wall of torpedoes. That's the other thing, is they launch a tremendous number of torpedoes. Their strikes are very large. Again, it's kind of strange that the Soviets would have aircraft carriers that can do a lot of damage in singular strikes when they didn't have any aircraft carriers in the Second World War. You know, it wasn't something that was really well developed. Looks like he is going for this West Virginia. You can see the skip bombs going in there. So we might as well lend our anti-aircraft guns to this guy. Come around the other side of this island. We could take out that Alba. That would be probably the most beneficial to our team. So finally, we're going to get our guns going for the first time in the game. Nice. That's a pretty good way to start it. And now we've got... this guy's coming for us. He is going to drop just a ton of torpedoes into the water. I think we'll take all of these, unfortunately. Now, don't ask me why a Soviet carrier can drop like 6 torpedoes into the water at the same time, because it doesn't make any sense. But it's the way the game works. I want to try to get around and go after this Huga. And see if we can take out that Surrey as well. If we can get in close, that is where, you know, because the ship also has torpedoes, right? So these German battleships, these German battlecruisers, are designed as brawlers. They're designed to get in close with their enemies. Especially since we have, you know, all of these secondary guns. And you'll see here, when we get to 10.1 kilometers, those secondary guns are going to open up. There they go.
Unser Team hat die Führung übernommen.
So we're going to get into Charlie capture point here. And take that for our team. And then I think, you know, between the West Virginia and this Omono here, I mean, they should be able to take out this Surrey, surely, right? I think we need to focus on this New Mexico. And then if we can get the New Mexico, there's really nothing stopping us from pushing all the way in to get the Serov. looks like that Serov's torpedo planes are going for the either the Colorado or the Tennessee over there. We are already now in secondary gun range of the New Mexico, which is where we want to be. And we can see that looks like he's starting to pull forward. So let's stay kind of behind this island long enough to make sure that we capture the base, so we get the points accruing for our team. And then once we get around the headland of this island, we can open up on the New Mexico.
Unser Sieg ist in Sicht.
I need help.
And I will bet you anything that Serov is lining up for a skip bomb attack. Yep, he is, but they all missed.
Haupttrupp kritisch beschädigt.
Those torpedoes, pretty good.
Wir haben ein gegnerisches Schlachtschiff
Unser Sieg ist
versenkt.
in Sicht.
And now it's revenge time on this Serov. As we're just gonna charge him down. And there's a couple of different options with the German battleships, battle cruisers, for which commanders to use. I would say for people who don't have the Halloween commanders, when I say Halloween commanders, I probably mentioned that a couple of times, that there are a couple of commanders that have been given out as part of the Halloween event. There's actually quite a few. And the ones that are, or the one that is really popular for the German battleships is a commander by the name of Henry J. Hyde. And the reason why he's so popular is because he
Gefecht endet in 5 Minuten.
the battleship commanders tend to kind of have one of two attributes. They either improve your survivability, or they
Unser Sieg ist in Sicht. Unser
improve
Sieg ist in Sicht.
your survivability, or they improve your guns. And I think that Surrey's going to take a torpedo, and oh no, he just barely got alive. And so most people with battleships tend to focus on the guns, rightly so. I mean, the guns are the name of the game with battleships. But in some cases, you may want to focus on survivability, and the survivability commanders tend to also have let's see if we got him here. Yep, we got him. The survivability commanders tend to also have the best secondary gun traits. So that's a pretty good start to the day. We're number 1 on the team. We got 4 kills. I didn't realize we had 4 kills. 2,500 XP. got our daily boost done. We got our endurance trials done. I'm not going to complain. That's pretty solid. We had 51 secondary hits. Shot down 10 planes. All right, well, good start. Anyway, you know, you can see with, just take a look at the different commanders here. You basically have two choices if you're looking at German battleships. You have Franz von Hipper. Oops, let's accept that. And Franz von Hipper has, you know, skills that increase your range, more main battery damage, increase the dispersion of your guns to make sure that they're, you know, tighter shell groupings. And in this case, Franz von Hipper also has some secondary buffs. But if you're looking for secondary guns, you know, you get a lot with, you know, highly educated crew or porcupine. Those are both, you know, nice secondary gun skills. Advanced schemes also helps your secondary guns. Properly meticulous, big buff to secondary guns. And then, of course, we use Franz von Hipper as an inspiration, which increases our secondary gun range and our shell grouping. And then Kondo is just a good inspiration to have because he reduces your battleship detectability, meaning you can get closer without being seen. So just good things to have on almost every battleship. But then the other option is this guy, Henry J. Hyde, who, again, obviously not a real commander. But he has a combination of he has Porcupine, which is a really good secondary gun skill. He also has Properly Meticulous, which is another good secondary gun skill. But he still has Marksmanship, which increases your main battery, like your accuracy. So, and Flammable Cannoneer also increases your main battery shell grouping. So, you've got, he's kind of a hybrid, right? Which is what makes him really attractive, I think, for a lot of people for German battleships and German battlecruisers especially. So I go back and forth between, typically I think most people don't use Hipper because he doesn't, you know, German battleships really, it's not about the main guns as much as it is about the secondary guns. And both Ciliax and Hyde give you significant buffs to your secondary guns. So, okay, what's next? Global XP, just earn global XP. Okay. Let's drop down a little bit and see if we can get into... Put our global XP booster on here. Let's see if we can get a good game in the Andrea Doria. So the Andrea Doria, technically, a ship was not built this way. Andrea Doria is a Conti di Cavour class battleship that has been refit. So when they did the refit, they removed one of the middle turrets. These ships were originally built in the First World War, but you would never know it by looking at them because their refit was so extensive. It's probably one of the most extensive refits that was done from any ship between the First World War to the Second World War. The Italians really, I mean, they took out all of the casemate secondary guns that were going along the side and they replaced them with anti-aircraft guns and more traditional secondary guns and turrets. There was another turret that was originally mounted on the Conti di Cavour in the position of about where the second smokestack is there. That was a, that was, I think, another triple turret that was like a waist, you know, centerline mounted gun. That gave her a broadside of, instead of having a 10-gun broadside, she had a 13-gun broadside. And I'm realizing here that I probably need to go over this way because I am the only battleship on this side. And the other battleship is a Prinz Heinrich, who is not doing anything yet. Anyway, so these ships used to have originally a 13-gun broadside, but they removed that middle turret in the interest of putting a better machinery plant in there that made these ships faster, and upgrading, the armor, communications, everything. I mean, it's extensive refits that happen to these ships, and so as a result, you have almost an entirely new battleship, even though it's technically the same as the Conti di Cavour. The Andrea Doria, as she appears in game, is such a dramatic refit of the Cavour class that it's like I said, it's like a totally new battleship. So we have on here Angelo Iachino is the commander that we have on this particular ship. And Angelo Iachino is the gunnery / accuracy focused commander for the Italians. And he has a skill that makes your guns even more accurate when you're shooting at cruisers. The idea being that you want to prioritize shooting cruisers in battleships because that's what they're designed to do. And both of our destroyers are already dead, which is not a good sign for this game. And even though we put on the accuracy commander, it looks like we missed all of those shots from our second salvo there, which is really disappointing. Excuse me. Looks like both of our destroyers just kind of ran into the middle of the map and died. Which is just not the way you want to see destroyers played. So we're going to do our part. We're going to get out here on the eastern flank, support these cruisers. Before we do, though, let's see if we can sneak another shot in here at the Helena. It's hard to tell because, she's behind the island, but again, if we have shots at a cruiser, yeah, he's turning. She's turning pretty strongly there, so again, we're going to miss all of those. I don't really understand what the play here is with these three cruisers just like hiding in the strait there. Not really sure, but we're going to come out here, hopefully engage with these enemy cruisers. Now the Andrea Doria is a tier 5 ship, and there's a lot of tier 6 ships in this game, so we'll see what happens. The thing that makes the Italian battleships interesting in this game, kind of their gimmick, if you will, they have two things. Number one, they can set a smoke screen, which is pretty rare. Battleships don't generally have the ability to set smoke screens for themselves. And the second thing is that they have semi-armor piercing ammunition that gets fired from their secondary guns. So if you remember last night when we were playing the Amalfi, you could see that that ship fired primarily semi-armor piercing ammunition. And against lightly armored targets, semi-armor piercing ammunition is very effective. So semi-armor piercing ammunition on the secondary guns of the... Yeah, man, just melting over here. At least they got that Helena. It's really good against light cruisers and destroyers. But the problem is those semi-armor piercing secondary guns do not have very long range. So you have to get, at least on the battleships, so you have to get pretty close. Looks like our whole left flank has completely collapsed here. It's just us and these 3 cruisers, which means the enemy is just going to march right into the base and probably win. And we have done almost nothing in this game, nothing meaningful, because there have been no enemies over here to fight. But we'll keep putting around shots down range and see what happens. And now that New Orleans is dead, which means there's literally nobody to stop the enemy from just marching into our base and capturing it. You know, at some point in these games, you know, when you are a battleship at the lowest tier, you know, battleships tend to have relatively low impact on the battle. I shouldn't say that they have low battle impact, but, you know, destroyers and cruisers are what typically win matches. Battleships are there for the purposes of kind of holding down positions, and putting the enemy into uncomfortable strategic situations where they feel like they can't accomplish, you know, whatever their goal is, right? The kind of the point of the battleship is to put yourself into a position where the enemy has to kind of come at you. Oh, he slowed way down. Oh, now he's speeding up. Yeah, he's prop juking. When I say prop juking, it's basically the idea of like speeding up and slowing down your ship to throw off the aim of the enemy. Is he gonna hit the island though? I feel like he might have hit the island there. He's still there. That's gonna be harder for him to do. Which is, I can't believe how quick he is in reverse. That's crazy. Anyway, this game's a loss.
La nostra squadra dipende da te.
It's all down to us now. Anyway, my point is just that, you know, battleships typically are just trying to put themselves in a position where they can take advantage of bad positioning by the enemy. Right? Like that. Put yourself in position where you can cause devastating strikes on enemy broadsides. Not a good game, even remotely. But we did earn 346 global XP. Let's try another game in Andrea Doria. Let's see how we do. You know, but battleships aren't usually the pieces. You know, if you're thinking about your team as, you know, a bunch of different chess pieces, battleships are not the pieces that win games. They're kind of like, you know, the pieces that kind of hold down an area. But the pieces that actually capture bases and contest bases and are disruptive to the enemy team are destroyers. So that's why they end up being the most important, strategic pieces. Carriers, on the other hand, they're also very disruptive because they can provide spotting all over the map. They can engage enemy destroyers. They can provide really important intelligence to your team, and they can also strike targets of opportunity that might be on their own or weak, but other ships can't quite get to them. So that's obviously something a really vital role that they can play. But carriers have no ability to control or capture bases. They can defend bases, but they can't capture them themselves. So they can't contribute to point gains in that way. I mean, yes, you can sail a carrier into a capture circle, I suppose, and capture it, but really no aircraft carrier in the right mind is going to do that, because they would just be setting themselves up to be killed. So, what are we looking at here? A tier 5 game, which is good. We're top tier. And there's another Seraph that we're up against. We know what they can do. Is he coming for us? No, it looks like he's going after... No, he is now. But the combined anti-aircraft gun power of us and whatever other ship this is... What is this? That's a Ramat. Yeah, it's basically a Dido class cruiser, British cruiser. It's not. It's the Ramat is a Pan-Asian cruiser, but it was originally a Dido class cruiser. Let's get a look at it here. That was built by the British Navy and was sold to, I think, Taiwan. So, for the purpose of this game, it's effectively a Dido class. And the Dido class is, they were designed to be kind of like American Atlanta class cruisers. They were anti-aircraft gun cruisers. So, should be pretty good at shooting down enemy aircraft. Come on, drop in on that Alpha there. Yes, nice hit. That Alba is still just sitting there. Is he going to move forward? I think he's going to try to move back. I don't know if he's going to be successful at getting out of the way. There we go. Got him.
Incrociatore nemico distrutto.
Good shooting.
Allarme incendio.
There is a Kabul.
Problema risolto, signore.
I just want to turn so that we are facing these torpedoes so we don't take any of them. Very good. Alright. That Kabul looks like he is going to sail right into the torpedoes that the Dido launched. There is a Farragut, which is a somewhat dangerous American destroyer. Our guns should be able to take out this Kabul. And I want to get going the other way. I don't want to be chasing directly into him. managed to dodge all of those.
Allarme incendio.
Very good. Like to take out that Kabur if I can. Okay, now we can focus on the Kukaze.
La nostra vittoria è vicina.
What is the range of my secondary guns? 5.4. Well, let's get close enough that we can kill this guy with the secondary guns. Come on. He is certainly launching torpedoes at us. That's why he's slowed down and changed course.
Problema risolto,
Let's
signore.
get the secondary guns on this side going. Come on, guys. Do some damage.
Allarme incendio.
There they are. There's the... That's it. Nice. Now see that? That was a great battle. Look at this. Big difference from last night. I mean, I suppose we had one dud of a battle there with the Andrea Doria, but again, top of the team. 3 kills. 1,600 global XP. So we solved our global XP problem. Great. Not going to complain about that. What do we do? 82,000 damage? Not a crazy high amount of damage, but a tier 5 battleship. That's respectable. 6 Citadel hits helped a lot, especially against those cruisers. Three ships sunk. And a number of planes shot down. Pretty good showing for the Andrea Doria there. We're very close to the Francesco Caracciolo. We'll just look at the ship real quick here. And the Francesco Caracciolo, this is a battleship that never actually, oh gosh, got it. That never actually existed. I think it was a concept design that the Italians built. But then of course you have the Vittorio Veneto, which did exist. These ships were very successful. The Littorio, the Vittorio Veneto, the Roma, and I want to say there was one other one that I cannot remember the name of right now. I think there were 4 ships in the series. Very successful. Well, I wouldn't say very successful. Italian battleships basically did nothing in the Second World War, but they were, I think, generally considered to be very well designed ships. Okay. Secondary hits. That's what we need. So let's go ahead, because now we have to get serious about getting, I think it's 500 secondary gun hits. Let's go ahead and take out the Flandre. The Flandre, not a real ship. Based on the Richelieu class, and actually based more on the proposed follow-on for the Richelieu class, which was the Alsace. And the Alsace was a class of ships that was essentially, you took a Richelieu and you, instead of having a flight deck in the back, they put an extra turret. So the Richelieu would have had 2 quad turrets in the front. The Alsace would have had 2 quad turrets in the front as well as 1 in the back. This Alsace is, the Flandre, is basically, it's an Alsace if it had 15-inch guns and only 3 guns on each turret.
Branle-bas de combat.
But the thing that makes the Alsace really fun in this game is that it has a whole bunch of, I'm trying to think if you can see them. No, not really. It has a whole bunch of these fast-firing secondary gun. Yeah, you can see the secondary gun battery there for a minute. Really fast-firing secondary guns that they just rack up a ton of hits. They don't do a lot of damage, so they're not particularly effective that way, but they're very good at starting fires, and like I said, they fire so quickly that you just get a lot of hits with them. And so therefore, they're really good when you have one of these missions that's like, get 1 million secondary hits. Well, okay, we can do that because you know, we've got secondary guns firing like crazy, like a machine gun coming off the side of the ship. Alright, I was thinking I would get... Well, there's a La Food. Now the Flanders main guns are not good. I shouldn't say they're not good. They're just not... They're not the most effective guns in the world. They're 15-inch guns. But we aren't building into the guns. We've got, of course, because we have 1 million secondary guns on this ship, we've equipped a captain, Emile Geprat, who buffs, of course, all of the secondary guns. Meaning that we have more range on our secondary guns. These secondary guns go out to 10.3. It's not the most that it could be, but it's pretty good. And of course we've buffed the secondary reload consumable. So what we're trying to do at this point is just get within 10 kilometers of an enemy ship and let our secondary guns go to work. Because this is more about getting secondary gun hits than it is about winning the match necessarily. Here is a Shimanto. The ship we really want to get is the Lightning. You can see the secondary guns are just going to start wailing on this guy. We got him. Ooh, we just missed that torpedo, and now we've got to turn real quick because we got all of those torpedoes from the Lightning coming in. Will we dodge all of these as well? Yeah! Alright, now we just want to get our secondary guns going on as many targets as possible. Just start racking up secondary hits. You see that counter over there of secondary guns. Just piling them up. What do we need to get to? 500?
Problème résolu, chef.
Thanks. Alright, just want to get somewhere where I can...
Notre équipe a pris l'avantage.
Alerte incendie.
kind of chill for a bit. Yikes. Really need that La Food to go down. Now the Schrader also has a ton of secondary guns. Can we stay alive long enough to get our heal off? Yeah, we got our heal off. Alright.
Problème résolu, chef.
Don't think the Schrader actually has... Oh my goodness. Don't think the Schrader actually has secondary, or has torpedoes. But you can see there, we got 196 secondary gun hits in a single game. We didn't do a whole lot of damage, but again, we didn't really want to. Pretty fun. Pretty fun. And we're gonna win. Let's jump back to port. One thing I wanted to try out. I wanted to try the Grosse Kurfürst. Which I think has an all-secondary gun build on it as well. Yep, secondary battery reload. We have the secondary gun damage. I don't necessarily want to convert all of these. But the Grosse Kurfürst was recently buffed to improve her number of hit points. The Grosse Kurfürst was this is a battleship that, again, didn't actually exist. It's loosely based on the German follow-on design to the Bismarck, the H-class battleships that never actually got built. They started to lay down the keel for one of them, but you know, the design was never finalized because every year they would just make the design a little bit bigger and make the ship a little, you know, make it a little more ridiculous. I don't think they ever came up with a design that had triple-barreled 16-inch guns, which is what the Grosse Kurfürst has in this game. I know that they had several designs that had double-barreled 16-inch guns. So, you know, like a Bismarck, but with, you know, twin turrets with 16-inch guns. And I believe there was even one or two designs that had 17 or 18-inch guns, but the Germans really liked their double-barreled guns once they got to higher caliber. It was really only the 11-inch guns that you find on like the Scharnhorst, the Gneisenau, the Graf Spee, those ships. That was as big as the Germans ever got with triple gun turrets. So this triple gun turret, even though other countries, you know, United States, Great Britain, Japan, all worked triple gun turrets with 16-inch guns, what is our secondary gun range on this? 10.9, so almost 11 kilometers. I would not mind getting a shot on this curve first. But I don't know.
Support the allied target.
Oh, that's pretty good damage. There, where is that destroyer? Why do we not see that destroyer yet? Oh, the Shimikaze's gone. Oh my god, that was amazing. Wow, that was crazy good. Let's see if we can hit this Stalingrad here. Now, the Stalingrad is... more hits. Okay, so the Grosser Kurfürst was one of the original legendary ships that they put into the game. Legendary battleships, I should say. Oh my goodness. And I just got smacked by that Grosser Kurfürst. But let's see if we can get him in return. Probably not, he's turning. Solid, but... Anyway, the Grosser Kurfürst was one of the first legendary battleships that went into the game, along with the Yamato, and eventually the Montana. These were some of the first, legendary battleships. Because they kind of wanted every country to have one, so the Germans got the Kurfürst. The Kurfürst is, however, a super flawed battleship in that it's very big. It's a huge target, and even though it has a ton of armor, it's very unwieldy. The ship it just tends to give up a lot of broadside, because it takes forever to get this ship to turn around and do anything. And now, in a game where we were hoping to get a lot of secondary hits, now we finally start to get some secondary gun hits. They're going to start shooting because this Kurfürst is within range. See if he shoots at me. He should if he's smart, because I'm a really good target right now. Anyway, the Kurfürst has always been a battleship that has just, in my opinion, it's always struggled with the fact that it's so slow. It's such a huge target. Even though it has good armor, it can just kind of be worn down really easily. And once that thing gets out of position, there's no saving it. You're gonna be out of position for the rest of the game. So it's a hard ship to play well, and it was a relatively unforgiving ship. So they recently gave it a pretty significant buff where it got a bunch more hit points, and they kind of redistributed the way that the hit points were built in around the ship. Meaning that they took a bunch of extra hit points out of the superstructure, which was the most lightly armed and easiest part of the ship to to hit with guns, even if you have relatively small guns like cruiser guns or destroyer guns. And they took more of those hit points and put them more into the hull, which is protected by more armor. And that's had the effect, supposedly, and looks like this game is not going to be very productive for us from a secondary guns perspective because we just didn't get a chance to get close enough to anybody. Our team kind of stomped all over the blue team. But, basically, it just made it harder to kill the Kurfürst. And I think that that's a really important and good change because, there was no reason to play this ship. The original reason to play this ship was because it had, kind of fun secondary guns. It was one of the first ships to have long-range secondary guns that could actually get out to 10 or 11 kilometers. Most ships in the game, had only like 5 or 6 maybe kilometer secondary guns, so the Kurfürst was the first one to have something more interesting. But with the introduction of the German battlecruiser line, which they all have long-range secondaries, with the introduction of the Italian battleships, which have semi-armor piercing secondary guns, a few other ships here and there with long-range secondaries, the Kurfürst wasn't really special in that regard anymore. So there weren't that many reasons to play it because there were just better ships at legendary tier. So I think giving her more armor in more useful places, I guess, or more hit points, making her a harder target. Ooh, there's a Yamato up here. Maybe that Yamato will stay alive long enough that we'll actually get to put some secondary hits into him, but I doubt it. Looks like he's got his hands full with whatever, one of our, maybe a Schlieffen or a Conqueror over there. Really want this Yamato to stay alive so that we can get in range of our secondary guns on him. We're coming close. What is it, 11? No, 10.9. Yikes, he just took a big hit.
Unser Team hat die Führung übernommen.
There we go. Let's go secondaries. I don't even want to shoot at him with my main guns because I want the Yamato to kill the Conqueror. He got close. Just want my secondary guns to... We got him. Not very many secondary gun hits in that battle, but at least we got a win. No complaints. Nope, we didn't quite make money on that one, unfortunately. There's another problem I have, is it's legendary tier is just very hard to turn a profit. You lose money in-game currency with almost every game that you play at legendary tier because they've balanced it so that people can't just play legendary tier all the time. They want you to have to play lower tier ships to make money so that you can quote unquote kind of spend that money while you're playing at legendary tier. The problem is that legendary tier isn't always that fun to play. So, yeah. Let's see, how close are we? We should be about 250? Yeah, 230. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and take out... Let's see, the Ohio actually has pretty good secondary guns. But I think the ship I want to take is another ship that's got pretty good secondaries, because we did get the Flandre. We got a win in the Flandre. Ah, what the heck? Let's take the Flandre again. That's a really nice ship for secondary guns. I guess if I was French, you would pronounce it Flandre. Flandre? Something like that? I don't know. It's basically Flanders, right? The portion of Belgium that is French-speaking. Where do we want to go? This is another Tier 7 battle. Got a couple of Tier 6s in here. Maybe we'll work our way into this area.
Que la bataille commence.
This is a relatively small map. Which I don't love. We have 2 destroyers, a Jaeger and a Udachi, so both heavy torpedo destroyers. 2 destroyers that we may not, you know, if they're smart and if they're playing properly, we won't see them for almost the entire game. So I want to find a spot where I can kind of park behind an island. And that way I can get out of the way of any torpedoes that might be headed for me. This Alabama is shooting at me, of course. He's not going to do a ton of damage because we can angle against him. Look at that. That Caracciolo's already taken out. Oh boy. I totally forgot about the ships on the other side of the map. That will try to kill me. Not the best move there, Dan. There is a Kansas and an Alabama over here, both of whom have very large 16-inch guns. There are the torpedoes that we really want to be avoiding. I don't know what our secondary guns are shooting at, but I'm not going to complain.
Attention. Reporting it.
I think we're going to take one of these torpedoes, but considering how many torpedoes we just had launched at us, that's not the worst situation.
Concentrate fire on the enemy warship.
There is Zeton.
All stations requesting fire on the designated target.
Who we would think would normally want to brawl with us, but he looks like he's pulling away from us.
Target. All stations, protect that target. All stations, concentrate fire on the target.
Goodness.
Concentrate fire on the enemy warship.
Will they get him? No, not quite.
All stations, reporting the position of a strategic target. Thank
That
you.
Udachi being gone is a huge, huge win for us. Please speed up, ship. Please speed up. Please speed up. Do not just sit here and get hit by those turbo. Okay. Okay. Now it's on, because the destroyers are dead.
All stations, requesting fire on the designated target.
And I think it's time for us to make our move. Gonna come around this corner. What is that ship? It's a Zara. I think the Zara has torpedoes. There's the Z. Looks like he probably has better things to shoot at. But I really want to get in here and take out this Zara.
Alerte incendie.
Go, go, secondaries. Go, 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 go. He's got armor piercing. There we go. There we go.
3h30 coulées.
Problème résolu, chef.
Are we gonna... Ah, didn't even phase us. Okay. Now which way do we want to go here? Obviously we're gonna capture this base. Who can see us? Oh. It's a Z. Oh, the Zara's torpedoes. That is really unfortunate. That... Yep. Ah, I forget how slow moving those Italian torpedoes are. Unfortunate. I don't know how this game's gonna go, you know? There's 4 battleships on the enemy team. We've got a cruiser.
Attention, reporting the target position.
It's just the way this map plays out. You know, you have all of these large islands that kind of section everybody off. Like, I mean, our team should win if we can take the capture point. As long as this Omono isn't stupid and reveal himself to the Zetan. And looks like he did. Why are you shooting at this guy? I don't know what this guy's plan is. Because it really needs to just capture the base. And now he's gonna get reset. Yeah. Just lost all of our capture progress. Hmm. I don't know. Could go either way. As long as that Amono can capture the base, then I think the advantage would be on our side. Let's go ahead and take out the Massachusetts. Massachusetts, also has really good secondary guns. 10.6 kilometer secondary guns. Wait, I want to look at the AA guns. Gun range. This and cruises are, yeah. Could swap this out for properly meticulous, but I'd rather have the additional heals or repair parties, so yeah, let's go ahead. And I think as long as we have a halfway decent game here, you know, we should be able to close out this secondary gun task. And here we have a Tier 7 battle with an aircraft carrier, which is just great, because the Massachusetts has very strong anti-aircraft guns, and our commander build had a very strong anti-aircraft gun focus. So this ship should pretty much chew through enemy planes.
Battle starts.
So we're gonna push up to around here, and then either go around the island this way or come around this way, depending on what other targets out there. We don't have to worry about any destroyers. So we really just want to get up to within 10.5 kilometers and let our secondary guns go to work.
Belle partie.
And it looks like the aircraft carrier is on the other side of the map, based on where we can see those torpedo bombers coming in. But maybe he'll come over here. What battleships? 3 Flandres. Like maybe some other people are trying to accomplish their secondary guns missions. Those torpedo bombers, are they coming for us? No, he's turning away. There we go. There we go. Our secondary, or our AA should be engaging. Yep, they already shot one down. Well, even though we didn't get the kill for those, definitely contributed some secondary gun damage, or some anti-aircraft gun damage. Alright, this is a Toulon, who's already in secondary gun range. Assuming we can catch up to him. Now, the Toulon does not have torpedoes, which is good to know. The Suzuya does have torpedoes. Suzuya is very annoying because she can shoot at us from long range and do a lot of fire damage. We're just gonna stop here for a minute and let our secondary guns go to, or let our AA go to work on these dive bombers.
The ship is on fire!
So we did shoot down quite a few planes there, but Suzuya, I don't want to just push out here because that Suzuya is going to be really annoying. And we can just be patient for a minute. Who is spotting us right now? Must be the Suzuya. Yep.
Сконцентрировать огонь на указанной цели.
If I push out here,
Назад!
I'll just be setting myself up to be attacked. I think we're gonna go up and move up while that Suzuya is going behind the island here. If I can get myself in behind this other island, then we become a much more difficult target.
Требуется поддержка.
Let's take out this Toulon while we're in the process, though.
Enemy battleships. Ship is running.
What is happening over on the other side? Looks like the enemy is kind of making a breakthrough over here. Can we get shots on them from over here? Probably.
Enemy cruiser detected.
Now this Suzuya is going to be launching torpedoes for sure.
Сфокусировать огонь на вражеском корабле.
But he's so close.
Concentrez le tir sur le navire ennemi.
Be crazy not to try to get him. There we go. don't think this North Carolina is even playing. There we go. We got him off the board. Now the question is, can we get the Suzuya off the board? He's going to be the trickiest one. That is going to hurt.
Problem solved, sir.
Come on, turn the boat, turn the boat. Yes, we got him.
Hull breach. We're taking off one.
Got him.
Destroyed an enemy cruiser.
Enemy heavily damaged.
We're probably gonna flood out here. It's been real, guys. I think that was a good push. It was the move that needed to be made at that time to get out there to take out the Suzuya and the Toulon and the North Carolina. Plus it gave us a bunch of extra secondary hits, so not even mad about it.
Battle ends in 5
Just a
minutes.
couple of aircraft shy of a clear skies medal. Shot down 18 enemy planes. Would have been nice if we could have shot down a couple more so that they wouldn't have gotten off a couple of those strikes. We definitely took a fair bit of damage from the torpedoes especially. But that should be a win. Let's look at the missions again real quick and see how close we are. I was only 50 secondary hits with that one. Boy. Oh, that we ended in a defeat with that Flandre. Look at the difference between last night and tonight, though. Only 2 defeats. The rest are all victories, and this last one is certainly going to be a victory as well. There's one other ship that I haven't played that's a secondary type of build. And that's the Ohio. Now the Ohio is a lot like the Massachusetts in that she still has really good guns, as you saw in that last game. But we've got a secondary-based commander on her, Willis Lee. Same commander, same build, very similar playstyle on the Ohio as we do on the Massachusetts. And the Ohio is essentially a Montana, a USS Montana. And the Montana was the ship that was built, well, it was designed and would have been built. It was laid down, I think. But, of course, never completed. As the follow-up to the Iowas. The Iowa-class battleships were supposed to be the fast carrier strike force battleships that had, I don't want to say they were battle cruisers, but they really they were designed to be fast, effective gun platforms with good enough armor. The Montanas were designed to be not only effective gun platforms because they had the additional turret, but they also were designed to have really pretty good armor, especially for their, for the types of ships that they were expected to be fighting against. And the Ohio is a Montana, but without having triple 16-inch gun turrets like the Montana would have had. The Ohio has twin 18-inch gun turrets, so like what you would see on a Yamato or Masashi. I am literally supporting you. Why are you saying you need my support?
Affirmative. Affirmative.
Let me take a citadel. Look at this wall of torpedoes headed toward us right now. Oh my gosh, we... Oh wow, we lucked out. We really lucked out there. So that Shimakaze is there. And that enemy Ohio. Yeah, we are so lucky. He had a great target there. Now these Ohio guns do crazy amounts of damage. I mean, they're 18-inch guns. But they're 18-inch guns with American super heavy armor-piercing shells. How are we going to deal with this Shimakaze over here? You got a Hayate, a Schmalland, and an Alaska. Now the Alaska, that's Zhao. He should be dead. Not quite.
Acknowledged.
Let's get that Zhao. That's the one we need. Yep.
Attention. Reporting the target position.
What is our secondary range? 10-6.
All stations, concentrate fire.
So
on the
let's
target.
get to our 10-6, and looks like he's got a very similar secondary range because he's using his secondary guns on the Alaska.
We've been spotted.
Get the secondary guns on this side of the ship to open up.
Enemy warship.
Don't want to sail in a straight line for too long, because you know that Shimakaze is out there. He will launch launch a massive pile of torpedoes at us.
The ship is on fire!
As long as he hits us while we're angled, he's not going to really do any damage to us. Oh, is that... No, it's not a Shimikaze over there. I don't know where that Shima is.
Enemy battleship foundered.
And now I'm not detected, which leads me to believe that the Shimikaze is somewhere hiding. Yuga most so there's just a Shimikaze and a Heezen left. The Heezen can do some damage, but it's no Ohio. The Ohio is, I think, most people agree. Now we're detected, so you have to figure
I need intelligence data.
that there are torpedoes going to be on the way shortly. So, we will do the old World War II strategy,
We've been spotted.
and we're going to zigzag. There's the Heisen. Pretty respectable hit.
All stations, reporting the position of a strategic target. All stations, requesting fire on the designated target.
Obviously, we're going to shoot at that guy. It's the only person we can see.
Our victory is in sight.
I think that's going to be it for him if he doesn't burn to death first. No.
Our team has taken the lead.
Torpedoes to port.
Got him. Well, we didn't finish tops, but we did okay. Didn't quite finish our secondary battery mission. But we are going to call it here for tonight. A much better slate of games than last night. Victory, 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 victory. Pretty solid set. Had the one defeat with the Flandre, which is unfortunate. But the Ohio, the Massachusetts, the Kurfürst, some of these lower level ships, this really nice game in the Prince Heinrich, first game of the day. This was solid. So, tomorrow I think we will have to get this secondary battery mission taken care of. So I think, regardless of what happens, you know, if I stream again tomorrow, we'll stream. Yeah, I could even do this one because this. Oh no, that's a shakedown trial, so it has to be done in standard. Regardless of what happens, I can do this one tomorrow. You know, just take one of the battleships out at the beginning of the stream, and then I think we will do a destroyer stream for the rest of the evening, because getting defended ribbons or captured or assisted and captured, those are great things for destroyers to do, and then finishing top of the team, a lot easier to do in a destroyer than it is to do in certainly an aircraft carrier or a battleship. So tomorrow we'll do a few destroyers and see how that plays out. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you all tomorrow night.